And here we have the dining hall. I see that Klops has left some tea and coffee on the table for us.
And orange juice too, I hope. I'm running rather low. All this dry air, you know?
I'll see to it, sir.
For me, just a spot of black coffee would be wonderful.
This concludes our formal tour of the estate, but our evening is far from over. Tonight, my friends, is more than just a housewarming party. Before the night is done, I have a very special announcement to make to you all. Oh, don't worry, my dear. You are safe with me.
Thank you. I was just a bit startled.
Oh, heavens, yes. The light's going out. What horror. I dare say I may faint myself, delicate flower that I am.
Flower? A noxious weed, perhaps?
Please, Misfortune, allow me. I've got you now.
Oh, what would we do without you? On second thought, you can unhand me. I seem to be quite all right.
Good. Because there's nothing to be worried about. It's just a little blackout.
Would you be so good as to check the breaker then, my dear Horatio?
Yes, of course. My talents will shed some light on all of us in no time.
I absolutely adore these old homes, but they do so often have problems with the wiring, don't they?
Excuse me, boss. Sir, there's a telephone call for you.
A call for me? Here? How mysterious. You must excuse me, my dear guests. Klops will fetch some candles for you so you can look around while Horatio works his magic on the lighting. I will return very shortly.
I wandered back to the king bedroom by myself to take a closer look at some of the decor. The elaborate carvings on the wooden bedpost intrigued me. Spirits and demons of all sorts circled and surrounded any lord who might sleep in this bed. Was this preferable, I wondered, than sleeping in the arms of Lamicali, blood drinker as she was rumored to be? The air in the old house was still and thick with dust. But even had there been a draft, I doubt the black drapes by the room's window would have stirred. Even I was surprised by how thick and heavy the material was. No sunlight would have pierced its way into this room against its occupants' wishes. That much was certain. Looks like our court magician has managed to conjure back a little light for us after all. I simply adore old chandeliers, especially the ones that come crashing down unexpectedly on the heads of people I don't like. Modern light fixtures just don't have that same potential. Had these books on the shelf belonged to the Lee family as well? Curious, I skimmed a few of the titles. A History of the Republic, Genealogy of the Great Families, How to Train Killer Bats, Genghis Khan and the 21 Balloons. All dreadfully dull classics, I'm sure. I'd hoped that by taking a closer look at the ruined portrait, I might be able to discern who had been pictured. I could imagine no shortage of delicious reasons why a lord's portrait might be disfigured in a house such as this. shredded by a bitter servant when the master was thought absent, savaged by an angry child who never quite lived up to expectations. Alas, the portrait seemed more a victim of old age than of some crime of passion, and of the face, I could make out nothing at all.
At last I found you, Misfortune. You need to come right away. Please.
Whatever is the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost with that one eye of yours.
There's no time to waste, miss. You should see for yourself.
Gathering my skirts, I hurried after the hulking butler, valet, back to the hall where we had first arrived. From the urgency in his pace and in his voice, I knew that something had happened. But still... It was our host, Prince Titanico. He was dead. That alone wouldn't scare me. I was no stranger to dead bodies. But from the way he was lying, it was clear that his death was no accident. He'd been murdered. And that meant that someone in the mansion was the murderer.
I found the rest of the ladies. Now, Klops, what is this all about?
Is that a body? Here! Oh, how positively horrid!
Everyone, shield your eyes! This is not a sight for fair sensibilities.
The other guests stood in the doorway opposite myself and Klops. My eyes fell on our oh-so-sensitive ingenue, Charisse. If ever there was a time to faint for real, this was it. But she didn't. She just stared into the room, her eyes wide, glassy, and unblinking.
Somebody needs to call the police!
Yes, ma'am. Right away.
It'll take them a while. We're ways out of the city.
We shouldn't touch anything. Let's all go back to the dining room and wait for the police to arrive.
No.
What?
We can't just sit and wait. We need to investigate. We need to see the truth with our own eyes. I'm with you on that, Sherry.
Well, if our precocious little darlings are going to be poking about, I'm certainly not going to be left out.
If you insist, then.
My dears, please do be very careful.
We won't disturb anything, Comtessa. I promise.
That is not what I meant. It could be that whoever did this has not gone far.
Oh. Surely it was just some villain who has since fled the scene.
I'll keep an eye out, sir. Just nobody wander far, you understand?
Perhaps it would have been more comforting to believe the culprit was some stranger, a shadow in the night that was now long gone. But it just wouldn't have fit the evening's theme, now would it? I had a hunch that there was something more afoot in the old manor that night, and I certainly wasn't going to trust anyone else to properly figure it out.
No, what a tragedy. What a cruel twist of fate. And to think Tonight was meant to be an evening of joy and making merry.
I'm not exactly sure that joy is the word I'd pick for an evening in this house. But I'll admit, I was never expecting anything like this.
It was such a monstrous sight. Do you think Miss Leah and Miss Charisse will be all right?
All right. They looked healthy enough to me.
No, I mean, do you think they'll be distraught? You, if you don't mind me saying, are a woman of the world, Misfortune. But they are so young, so pure, like a newly bloomed flower that has only seen sunlight, never knowing that there is also night and all the horrors that it hides.
A rose, by any other name, can still prick you quite nastily if you don't know what you're doing.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind, my dear Horatio. Prince Titanico mentioned an announcement that he wished to make this evening. Do you know what that was all about?
Yes, or at least I think so.
You mean you're not sure?
You must understand, the prince was a man with a flair for the dramatic. He rather liked his secrets and, hence, his surprises.
That I don't doubt. In fact, I wouldn't put it past him to have staged his own death just to leave us all in suspense.
My dear friend did have rather unusual tastes, but I fear in this case it was not part of the plan.
I see. So, are you going to tell me then?
About what?
About the announcement, of course.
No, I think not.
Oh?
As I said, he liked his secrets. Telling you now, it just wouldn't be what he'd want.
Well, if you do so insist on being obstinate, I suppose I will have to make do on my own.
A true magician never reveals his secrets, Misfortune, nor those of his friends.
Horatio, how long had you known our dear departed host?
I have, had been his closest friend and confidant for many years.
Oh yes, the grand magus of his court, didn't you say?
I did, but alas, though I can conjure a parlor trick or two, I could do little to foresee this unseemly doom.
Indeed, unseemly, just the word I would have used. Presumably you would know then if the prince had any enemies.
A man like the prince always does, but none of them are here.
I would say the evidence suggests the contrary.
Surely you don't mean to suggest that it was one of us. After all, didn't you say that all your husbands just died from bad luck? Perhaps it was that.
Yes, quite. Bad luck. Where were you when this absolutely dreadful business happened?
I imagine I must have still been in the basement, or very close to it. I'd only just got the lights back on, and I was coming up the stairwell when Klops found me.
Was he the one to discover the body then?
I believe so. He asked me to help find all the guests, which leads me to cleverly deduce that I was the first one he encountered after the gruesome discovery.
Clever indeed. Nothing gets past you, does it, dear?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But where were you, Misfortune?
I was in the king bedroom.
Alone?
As it happens, yes. I've always been the sort to need a little bit of me time every so often, you know.
But you could have been in danger!
Oh, horrors, you're right. If only I was clairvoyant, I might even have been worried at the time, too.
Well, never fear. You're safe with me now.
Yes, I'm sure I am. I do believe it's about time I took a bit of a stroll.
Do be careful, Misfortune, and please, if you have need of my talents.
Worry not, my dear. If the lights happen to go out again, I'll know just who to call. Goodness, the evening must be wearing on me more than I thought. Even my purse seems heavy. A knife? In my bag? It's even flecked with blood. And what's this? A ring? It looks decidedly pricey, but it's not one of mine. How did it get here? For just a moment, I was confused. But then the gruesome sight of Titanico's body flooded my thoughts, and the truth hit me. I was being set up. Almost certainly, what I held in my hands was the knife that had stabbed the prince. I don't know how it got in my purse, but whoever put it there had made a mistake. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that anyone who tries to frame me for murder is going to regret it.